Hey there, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you. It's 3 o'clock on our Tuesday, and a couple of things I wanted to get on your radar as we go throughout the rest of the day. We have a thunderstorm risk, a rain chance as well, and this is going to be something we track for several hours here. It's just kind of getting going at this 3 o'clock hour, but it's something we're going to follow through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. Overall, most of us are going to see an occasional shower or thunderstorm, but a couple of you might actually see a severe thunderstorm or some damaging wind gusts and some hail as we go through the rest of today. This is part of a bigger weather pattern that's going to be with us for several days as we go throughout the rest of the week. So just kind of get your mindset that this is what we're in for through about Saturday. Every different day here is going to have the occasional shower and the occasional thunderstorm that could mess up with some of your plans. What I want to do at this time is actually storm track kind of live with you here too. So I'm going to be using my computer to kind of manipulate the radar as we go along. Right now, the live look at the radar across the region. Again, this is as of 3 o'clock. We've been having more of a steady rain action across parts of our foothill counties for a good chunk of the day. But there's one storm in particular that's been a little bit stronger than that. This is just formed really within the last 2 hours or so. It got started in Rowan County, now moving into Davidson and parts of Randolph counties. That yellow box on the screen, that means a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for your area. And that's going to be something that we're watching pretty carefully until it expires. On a live view and a closer view here, this is that storm that's moving right there through Davidson County, right there south of High Point as well, and starting to move into Randolph. This is I-85. It's just to the north of Denton here. A couple of things that stand out on first glance, several different lightning strikes. We've also seen hail potential in this storm. And you notice on the warning, they're mentioning that the wind speed could be as high as 60 miles per hour, and that hail size could be as large as about 1 inch in size at times. This is the only warning that we have active right now across our area, but it is going to be something that we watch over the course of really several hours. Right now, this is a live view using our High Point weather camera. We're actually using it to take a look at the storm, and you can see pretty clearly that that storm is pretty evident off in the distance there. Very heavy rainfall, dark clouds too. This storm is moving at a pretty good clip. So what I've been doing as this storm has been going on is we've been tracking it and kind of moving the camera along for the ride. This is looking south from High Point, closer to that storm, which is right now closer to Thomasville. So as I move this along, you'll actually be able to get a little bit of a better look at it off to the south. This is the furniture area in downtown High Point, but there's the storm right here. You can see the really heavy rainfall coming out of it, and the front edge of the storm has appeared to have at times what we would call a shelf cloud. That's kind of a lowering of the cloud base out of a different thunderstorm. So here's that live view once again as they get ready for market later on this week in High Point. There's South Main Street right here. These are some of the hills south of town, and you'll notice it's kind of dry at this point, but there's the heavy rain, really dark clouds out of this severe thunderstorm, which is pushing through parts of Davidson County and Randolph County. That's where it's moving into. So that's the leading edge to the rainfall. We'll keep on coming back to this image a little bit more as we track this particular storm for you here live. I'm going to use my radar now to kind of give you a better idea of where the storm is and what are those main threats. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until about 3:15. There's not really a tornado threat with this storm, or honestly, probably with any of the storms that we're tracking today. The reason for that, there's not enough twisting in the atmosphere to really get a storm to kind of start to rotate. And that's what you need to do in the first place to turn a thunderstorm into a tornadic thunderstorm. We're not expecting that for today, but we are going to be curious and concerned a little bit about damaging wind gusts and hail. So let's just get that out of the way. Let me show you what the velocity scan is looking like right now. If this were a storm that had a tornado threat, you'd see a lot brighter reds next to bright greens. We don't have that right now, so we're not really all that worried about that. But the storm itself, kind of the peak of it, is centered right around Thomasville at this time. And we can kind of zoom in and give you a street level. So I'm going to pause the radar here so it stops looping around and you can see it. But let's take a look at where the storm is at its strongest. This is I-85. Here's Highway 109. There's the Randolph-Davidson border. Notice that purple color? When we see that purplish pink color on the radar, that tells me a couple of different things. Obviously, extremely heavy rain, but it can also indicate that there's some hail falling out of that storm. And right now, it would appear that we likely do have some hailstones falling right around Old Mountain Road, Reddy Fox Lane, Parish Farm Road as well. Again, that pink is usually where you would start to find some hail inside of a thunderstorm. We can measure it in another way. If we take a slice of this storm, we use our radar to kind of give us a 3D view of the storm system. This is kind of going to look like a storm cloud when I zoom out, right? You can see where the heaviest rain is and where those biggest radar returns are located. Right there, that's likely a hail shaft, as we would call it. The way that radar works, it sends out the energy, it looks to see where there's anything falling from the sky. The lighter it is, only a little bit of the beam comes back, but if it's heavier, a lot of the beam comes back. And if it's ice balls, like hail, boy, do you get a big return. And so that's why those pinkish colors tend to represent some hail. Usually raindrops can't quite do that for our radar system, so we're likely having some hail falling right now along that Randolph-Davidson County line at about 3:05 this afternoon. Let's again use the radar in another way. I'm going to show you the hail track on this system. This is the radar kind of estimating where it thinks hail might be and where it might be going. So the storm itself has been moving through central Davidson County so far. If we zoom in a little bit closer, this is where that hail has been estimated, right along this area, right along the Yadkin River here, just south of Cotton Grove, and then right about where I showed you, right there in between Highway 47 and Highway 109. And estimated by radar anyway, it's anticipating this hail is anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch in diameter. That's something that we've been noticing with this storm. Now let's go back to the live radar here and let's see where it's going. It's always good to give us a storm track so that we know where the system is tracking and whether or not it's strengthening or even weakening a little bit. That would be good news. This storm right now has started to basically exit most of Davidson County. Notice how those brighter colors, the oranges, the reds, and the pinks are all in Randolph County now. Still have some lightning strikes on both sides of the border, but I would expect that warning for you in Davidson County, that'll be dropped in pretty short order. Right now, the storm is mostly a northwest Randolph problem at this time. And if you're watching from High Point or Greensboro, this storm is passing off to the south. At this point, it does look to stay just to the south of us. At one point, it had a bit of a northern component to it, but it looks like it's diving a little bit south of town. So if you're maybe near the Grandover, you'll get some of this. High Point, you'll get some of this, but Greensboro, probably the worst of it stays just south of our area, and it's north of Asheboro, close to Randleman is where you're going to be following this as well. Let's put a storm track on it. I'm going to zoom back into the heaviest part of the storm. Looks like it's weakening ever so slightly, which is always good to see. I'm going to turn the alerts off just so we can better track this for you and make it a little bit less confusing. So where's the heaviest part of the storm? Right about here. Let's do a storm track. It's moving at about 30 miles per hour. So not the fastest, but certainly not slow either. At this rate, it would be approaching around Archdale basically any minute now. Pleasant Garden closer to about 3:30, Climax and Liberty closer to 3:40, and then about 4 o'clock as the time will be getting to the edge of Randolph County. So they'll see if the Weather Service reissues this thunderstorm warning for us. Elsewhere, we only have another downpour popping up right now in Summerfield. This is up in Guilford County. This is not severe at this time, but just goes to show you things like this will be popping up as we go through the rest of the day. And that's really part of our weather forecast here, is that scattered rain, scattered downpours are going to be possible, not just today, but honestly for several days. That's kind of the weather pattern that we're going into, is that every now and again, if you're going outside without your rain gear or umbrella, you could be getting soaked in a short time, because things like that can pop up really without all that much warning. So this is the one storm on the table right now. I want to go back to that High Point sky camera just to kind of show you what we're seeing. Remember, we looked at it together just a second or two ago, and it really gave a pretty good look of that thunderstorm. I'm going to step out of the way once more so you can take a peek at it. That's the heavy rain you're noticing in the distance just beyond the buildings and right on the horizon. The darker colors representing the real downpour style rain, and yeah, that lighter color representing just some clearing sky. But this is pretty impressive. That's a big downpour, of course. What we're not finding, though, nothing looking like spooky clouds or anything along those lines. And most of the heavy rain appears to be passing just to the south of High Point for the rest of this afternoon. Let's widen out the view again. I want to show you what we're dealing with. So basically the rest of the day today, we're going to be watching mostly for scattered rain and storms. There is this level 1 low severe thunderstorm risk for basically all of North Carolina. Today's Tuesday. This is that weather risk for us. And when we talk about a risk of severe thunderstorms, the National Weather Service puts out a risk level, lowest being 1, 5 being the highest. And what you take away from that is when you're in a level 1 risk like today, any severe thunderstorms, well, they should be pretty few and far between. That is to say, they're not widespread. Not everybody is getting one, but if you do, well, it's probably pretty short-lived and most people aren't going to get it. And that really makes sense for a day like today. This threat really actually extends across much of the southeast. This is part of a cold front that's kind of been moving a little bit closer to us, inching closer bit by bit throughout the day. And if we put on the wider range view of the radar, there's that line that's getting closer to us. More thunderstorms like that one will probably form throughout our afternoon. But notice how the same thing is happening here in upstate South Carolina, parts of Georgia too, and all the way back here into Alabama and Mississippi. For them, this is already day number 2. For us, it's day number 1. This front, it's moving in, but it's also slamming on the brakes. And so what that means for us is that we're not going to see a lot of change over the next couple of days. Instead, we're likely going to see that same weather pattern kind of over and over and over again. Not every day will be exactly the same, but basically we're going to have our eyes peeled on the radar each afternoon. To show you in a different way, there's that cold front moving over us right now, slows down for tomorrow, then it kind of turns into a bit of a stationary front. So when we say a stationary front, that means that low pressure kind of sitting over the area, not moving much, and giving us that opportunity for unsettled weather over the course of several days. So just plan on this for tomorrow. This would be Thursday here. Scattered showers and storms will continue. Here's a look at our futurecast. I want to actually back this up. We'll go all the way back to current time and go very slowly through this. Let me kind of roll this back here for you. So here we are right now. This would be Thursday or Tuesday afternoon. That's what it's estimating is happening today. Notice how it continues to pop up additional downpours and possibly a couple strong or severe thunderstorms through about, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 o'clock tonight. So we'll really want to stay most weather aware from now until about 8 to 9 o'clock this evening. Once we get farther along throughout Futurecast here, we'll dry things out for a bit for tonight. And early tomorrow morning, scattered cloud cover is likely, but a couple downpours could be happening at times heading into Wednesday afternoon and evening. And that's just kind of where we are over the course of the next several days. All told, throughout the rest of this week, rain totals should be around 1 inch or so. And this is going to vary. It's all localized when we talk about rainfall because those little storms, they don't take up much real estate. So the farther north you are, you're likely to have lower totals as this front settles somewhere just south of the Piedmont over the next several days. But an additional inch on top of whatever falls today is possible, especially for our southern counties through the next couple of afternoons, basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. So you can see it right here pretty plainly. Wednesday to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all of those days will have potential for scattered rain and thunderstorms through that first half of the weekend. Dry weather, that's going to be pushing back by Sunday, but not really until then. And so until we get there, you're going to be dealing with some on-again, off-again rain and thunderstorms. So we'll be updating the forecast every day, and of course you can catch that here on Channel 2 and WFMY Plus anytime. But that's just a look at your odds of getting wet each afternoon. I want to go back to the latest live radar. I think we have a couple of new updates coming into us all the time. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning now. So what they've done is they've updated the storm warning information. Remember, when we first were showing this to you, it was only a warning for parts of Davidson and Randolph counties. Now it has been updated. You can see right here, that's the new warning box. So this severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way until 4 o'clock for parts of Randolph there, Guilford here, and even parts of Alamance County. The same threats are indicated. Wind speed maybe as high as 60 miles per hour. Hail size maybe as high as 1 inch. So that's the same information, the same idea for our area as we go through the next hour or so. So that's the new warning box. Let's zoom back into the warning and show you where the storm is and what it's doing at this time. It looks like it's regained a little bit of that strength that it lost. Remember, we talked about the hail potential with this, that brighter pinkish color showing us kind of where the storm is the worst. I want to make sure I'm using both radars equally. We have a couple different ones that are available to us all the time. It looks like the one in Roanoke is giving us the most up-to-date storm information. Well, either one is good. So anyway, we do have this nasty looking hail core. The worst part of this storm right now is right about here. Let's see if we can find some roads. It's a very rural area of Randolph County. So we're looking at Nelson Road. This would be Flint Hill Road, Mount Olive Church Road. So it's basically just to the west here of 311 and 74. So just in this part of the county, it'd be pushing towards you in Randleman, pushing toward Level Cross over the next 15-20 minutes or so. So on the wider view, let's kind of put this on an animation now. I'll step out of the way just so you can see a little bit more clearly. This is that new warning here for Randolph County, parts of Guilford. That storm is moving along at a pretty steady clip at about 30 miles per hour, moving through northern Randolph, and it'll clip some of southern Guilford County. To me, it does not look like Greensboro is at high risk from this storm. Really, it looks like the worst of this will be pushing through the south end of Guilford County. But if we put some broad strokes tracking on this thing, we'd be looking at Level Cross really in the next 5 minutes. 3:20 or so. McLeansville closer to 3:45. Elon closer to 4 o'clock. And Burlington closer to about 4:05 to 4:10. So that's when you'd want to be watching most carefully. We are finding some lightning strikes in this thing. Not too many. Only a couple at this time, basically about 5 to 10 lightning strikes right now, about 8 at the moment. But bottom line, downpour rain, hail is likely too. And I want to, before we leave you, I want to make sure we're watching all aspects of this storm. Still not finding anything concerning at all when it comes to rotation. There are some brighter colors showing up, which would indicate the potential of possibly some high gusty winds. Again, this is showing about 40, maybe 45 miles per hour in times. It's likely to be producing some wind gust, but the main concern to me right now would be from that hail core, which is right about here. That's going to pass in between Level Cross and Randleman over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then it'll push closer over to the southern part of Guilford County. So that's the one storm we have on the line for you right now. Continue to be alert and watching for extra strong or severe storms as we go forward in time. So closer to 4 o'clock, 5, and even 6 o'clock through the rest of the day today. And of course, we're going to have you covered, not just right now with scattered rain and storms, but through our newscasts too, which go from 4, 5, and 6 o'clock through the rest of the day today. So you can watch us live on air and of course right here on WFMY+. But we'll leave you with this right now. Severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Alamance, Guilford, and Randolph counties until 4 o'clock. And you can count on us for more updates as we go throughout the day.